Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Cheryl Schmitt from Chiropractic. We figured out our technical difficulties here. I put a little post when we were trying to figure it out, Jaymie, that we were having some technical difficulties, so we might be just a couple minutes delayed, but we got you on.
Yes.
Technology, it's like, love it or hate it. When it works, it's wonderful. When it doesn't, it stresses us out and we go a little crazy.
Yeah.
So today, because of stress and all this thing we're talking about, we're going to talk about mental health stuff. So I brought Jaymie Johnston, here for talking tea with us today, because mental health isn't always talked about. It's still kind of a taboo subject a lot of times. And everybody seems to be having more and more stress in their life. And with that comes mental health stuff. And just past experiences that people have had and everything. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what's out there for resources, what to look for, all kinds of great stuff. So first of all, I just wanted to introduce you to Jaymie and tell you a little bit about her. I'm going to read her bio that she gave me, and then we'll just get right into it. So Jaymie earned a master's in mental health counseling from Capella University. She is a mental health professional and nationally certified counselor. She has worked for a nonprofit community mental health agency providing individual, group, and couples counseling, as well as providing crisis services to individuals. Currently, she is seeing individuals in her private practice in Bellingham, Washington, so not too far from me. Great resource. I have clients that come all the time from Bellingham and surrounding areas, so I'm excited to have you as a resource. She specializes in working with those who have experienced trauma, as well as navigating through the challenges that come with parenting, preconception, pregnancy, prenatal, and postpartum. She enjoys helping others or people process trauma in order to cope with life, and she also helps mothers with critical self-talk and to be more intentional in parenting, which I love. She's a Pacific Northwest native where she lives with her son, stepson, and husband. She loves the rain, which you have to if you're going to live here for any extra time. And in her spare time, she likes to read, craft, hike, spend time with the ocean, and go camping with her family. So welcome, Jaymie. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add to that? Anything I missed? Any big important parts?
I don't think so. I think you got all the important parts.
I love that you can come from a parenting angle of being a mom and a stepmom, because both of those have different challenges than somebody who hasn't been a step parent. Probably can't relate to that quite as much as you. So you got both angles coming there. Let's see here. I was going to really quick. So tell me what your services are that you are doing right now. What are you providing for people?
I'm doing individual counseling. I also started a very informal mothers group at Perch and Play. It's just, we call it a New Moms Chat group. It's for mothers with children under 9 months. They had that group when I had my son 5 years ago, and then they discontinued it. And it was just an awesome resource. Just being able to get out of the house, even when you have a little one, is invaluable. Yeah. And then having other women to talk to was really great. So I started that back up. It's only been running, this will be the second week. So that is something brand new. I want to start some other groups with moms. And so that's kind of something I'm working on, but I haven't fleshed that out quite yet.
So that group at Perch and Play says for 9 months and under. So moms basically with newborns and under, the little ones are not really getting around and climbing the walls quite yet.
Yeah, because then they can bring the kids and they can, crawl on the floor or lay on the floor and we can talk. Because that can be a barrier to moms, not having somewhere to take their kids. So
yeah, exactly. I see that a lot, even with fitness, exercise appointments, anything like that. Being able to take your children is definitely a big plus. When do you guys meet?
Yeah. It's Wednesdays at 10 a.m.
Okay, cool.
And it runs for an hour.
Awesome. So what do you offer for people with older kids or kids that are beyond the 9-month age right now?
I don't have any groups yet for that. I do eventually want to start some other groups at my practice, not at Perch and Play, for older moms with older kids.
Older families. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if a mom has an under 9-month-old, but she has an older child, then that doesn't work for her quite yet either, because it's just for 9 months and under?
It depends. If the kid is able to play on their own, they can play downstairs at their play area.
Okay.
So that is an option. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are hanging up upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So those of you who haven't been to Perch and Play, it is an amazing place to take your kids. They have like a little, I've only been there once or twice, and it was a while ago. So if it's not this way anymore, let me know. Remind me that it's different. But down on the main floor, they have like a little coffee shop where you can get snacks and stuff like that. And then they have a play area for kids. Probably good for most kids. I would say 7 and under. Yeah. 8 and under. It's kind of a small area for getting bigger kids. And, you know, my kids that are now 9 and 13, not for them. They would just too small space. But they can hang out and have, you know, coffee or hot chocolate or something with you while the little kids play. And then upstairs is kind of like a little place where you can sit and hang out, and you can kind of look over and you can see the play area, but there's a area to sit up there. So it's an awesome place to take your kids, meet other moms, and obviously to go to this group too if you got little ones. I think that's awesome that you're offering that. Moms don't have anywhere to go, it seems like, and having groups that are child friendly is awesome. So you said that you do some counseling with women who are trying to conceive, as well as prenatal, pregnancy, and postnatal care. So what kinds of things are you seeing moms come in for, or things that you can help them with in those areas or those times?
Well, recently I've seen moms come in. There's been a few tragedies in our community with some pretty awful things that have happened with people who are local in the school. And so I've had some moms come in who are affected by that. Maybe even not directly, but it's impacted their parenting, just knowing about something awful that happened to, you know, a young child, and that can affect how they think about their own child and what's going on with their family. And so I've seen a few moms come in for that kind of thing lately.
And do you see just the adults, or do you do family units?
I'm just doing adults right now.
Okay, so mothers and fathers.
Yeah.
You can't forget about dads. We talk a lot about moms, and the dads are often forgotten. I think that, you know, they are raised to be macho, and it's even a little bit more of a taboo for the guys to have someone help them with anything. Even with chiropractic care, like any health care in general, they just want to do it all themselves, and they don't want to go until they've like fallen to pieces. So we definitely can't forget the guys. I'm glad that you're doing both moms and dads.
Yeah.
And then you were talking about intentional parenting. So tell me what that's about. Tell me about what you see as intentional parenting and what kind of support and guidance you're helping people with.
I think parents often have an idea of how they want to parent, and then how they are parenting can be quite different based on, you know, past experiences, childhood, and, you know, many different things. So intentional parenting would just be how they want to parent, getting to where they want to be with parenting, being more intentional with how they speak, how they interact, things like that.
Yeah, I think we can get stuck, and I think all of us, I find myself too, saying those words like, that was my mom just said that, not my mom. Sorry, mom. Mom was great. I love my mom. If I say anything about my, you know, parenting, I actually had wonderful, wonderful parents, but everybody has a little glitch here and there, something that wasn't quite the way you want to do things. So yeah, sometimes I see, but then there's people who've been in very traumatic childhoods and had some very dysfunctional parents, and then come into this world where they have to become parents, and you learn so much as a child. It's so ingrained in your brain and in your neurology and your reactions and how you respond to your own children, that having someone like yourself who can come and like kind of be a reset I'm assuming that would kind of be what you do to guide them and teach them new skills. And then do you work with moms and dads together, or do you work separately, or a little bit of both?
At this point, I'm just working separately. Eventually, maybe I'll move to that where I'm doing together. There's some different training that I'm going to be working on to be able to do that. There's a really great Gottman training for couples that I really want to get into so that I can provide more of the together.
Yeah.
With the moms and dads.
I would assume that would be very important to have mom and dad, because you need them on the same page. Because if you are working with one parent and they're getting all these good skills, but the other parent is still kind of stuck in old habits or old patterns, that can become conflicting between them, and then also with the children. So.
Yeah, and I hear that often with parents. Often the mothers are, trying to go on a different track, and then sometimes fathers have this idea of, well, I have to be an authoritarian, this has to be this way. And so then there's that dichotomy of two different parenting styles, and it doesn't work.
Yeah. So when you do that, how do you deal with that? Because a lot of times it's probably the moms that are coming in to seek out care with you, because in my experience, it's the women who are the proactive ones for the most part. I mean, it's not always, but even with what I do in a chiropractic care, the moms want to bring the kids in, and the dads are a little bit more hesitant to get care for themselves or even care for their family. So with this, I would assume you have the same situation where the moms are coming in, they're trying to be more proactive, they're trying to change things, and the dads are real reluctant and like not wanting or thinking that it's not I want to say harsh enough, but not strict enough, and the kids are going to be crazy monkeys flying off the roof or whatever. So how do you? I mean, I know you're working with the moms. So what do you tell moms who have husbands who aren't really quite on board to try to narrow that gap?
It can be really tricky. I mean, sometimes there's situations where husbands just want the moms to get all the information and figure it all out. And that doesn't always work.
I know. And different backgrounds too. My husband was actually raised in a more authoritative household, and he was an only child. And I was really raised in a much more, I would call, relaxed, independent childhood. And I had 4 siblings, so that's probably part of the reason. So sometimes he him kind of watching me, because he didn't have that experience of being around kids and following my lead. But then sometimes when things kind of go not so great, then he's quick to say it's because it's not strict enough, So
working on communication between the two partners can be really, really crucial.
Yeah. So what are some tips? What are some tips for moms that you have with, like, what would you if you had 2 or 3 things you would ask or say to a mom who's dealing with this with her husband? One, communicate, sit down and talk about everything. What else would you tell them to try to do? Give them resources? Would you have things to hand out to them, printouts, things like that?
Definitely print out resources, because the way you communicate also makes a difference. If, a partner feels like the other partner is being, more aggressive or, attacking, then that's not going to work. No one's going to listen. So how you communicate definitely makes the difference.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was going to say, it seems really tricky because everybody's communication styles are so different. Some people want like the research and the facts, and some people want to know other people who are doing it and have more connections and emotional backing. So what you do, I have to say, is got to be one of the most difficult things, I think, to do, because of all those. So you were saying you had another tip?
What was the other tip?
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. I'm spacing on what it was.
So we were talking about communication and resources and the different ways people communicate. Would you try to would you try to encourage them to come to a session on their own with you?
That can be very helpful. And usually it's not in the beginning of when they start therapy. After a few sessions, that can be helpful to get the other partner in and discuss, where the breakdown is happening in communication. Some husbands are very, like you were mentioning, they want to know the science, the facts. And so having that information can be helpful so they can see, like, this isn't just a random thing that we're trying to do here.
Yeah, when you do something that's different and it's going against somebody's sometimes core understanding and beliefs, it's really hard to change that. So sometimes it's the facts or it's the research papers and things like that helps people to turn around.
Yeah.
So you work a lot with people who've been through childhood trauma. What is your ideal client, or what kind of people are you looking to work with the most?
My ideal client is a mother who had childhood trauma and is working to break the cycle of how they were parented and how because that impacts your parenting tremendously. Yeah. I mean, what you've seen growing up is what you have to go off of for parenting, and trying to change that can be really hard because automatic reactions can just, you go back to that base.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely my ideal client.
Yeah, I think especially when you're feeling in a stressful situation, you go back to your primitive brain, your primitive self, and so you go off of more off of like instinct, right? You're gonna go off what you learn. So diving deep into what those core beliefs are and trying to reassemble and shatter and rebuild them, is key. And then you're starting a new, or have you started yet, a parenting blog where people can read some articles that you have coming up. I know you mentioned that you're going to start doing that. Is that coming in the near future? Have you started?
That is coming in the near future. I am in the process of getting content, and that will be on my website hopefully really soon.
Yeah. What kind of topics are you hoping to talk about on there?
Well, I want to dive into stepmotherhood, the journey that I've had with my journey, other people's journeys, because there's not a lot of support out there for stepmothers, and that's a huge undertaking and can be quite difficult. So that's one of the topics. Just general parenting. I mean, it's so hard starting to be a mother. You have all these different hormonal changes, feelings that come up. You feel like you're alone, that you're the only one that's going through this. And a lot of women don't seek out help when that happens. I mean, often it's quite later they seek out help when they could have realized that, earlier on that they could have gotten help and support and it would have changed a lot. So normalizing that experience and helping people realize that it's okay to reach out, get help.
Yeah. So sometimes we see what I call the Facebook filter, or some people call it fake book. and you see all the highlight reels of everybody's lives. And so people don't realize that other people are going through some of the same struggles. So many women I see just in my practice are thinking that they're doing something so wrong if their children are acting out on how they would normally act at that age, or even like breastfeeding difficulties or troubles conceiving or all those kinds of things. They feel like they're alone. They feel like they're failing. So having support and community is key, which is really, really why I wanted people to know about you, because I think more people know that there's community support out there and there's groups that you're putting together to have people be able to talk openly about these things and not feel that they're alone.
And a lot of people don't realize, there's postpartum anxiety, and postpartum depression isn't always what people think of. They're like, well, I'm not really depressed, but they're super anxious when they're taking their child out of the house, like something awful is going to happen. Well, that's not quite normal, and that's good to talk to someone about that.
Yeah, and if something is actually stopping you from doing normal daily activities because of your levels of stress or anxiety, then that is something that people need to know about, and I think that's awesome. Lindsay Rogers is just on here and says, I do agree that step parent-focused counseling could be extremely beneficial. And I know a few people who are step parents, and there's not a lot of information that I have come across. I am not a step parent. I have 4 children of my own, so I don't feel like I really completely understand. But definitely having you as someone who has been there and done that, and then with your background in counseling, like, double whammy, you'll be able to help so many people. So people can find you online, JaymieJohnston.com, and then also you have a Facebook page, and soon you'll have a blog that's linked to, I would assume, both of those. Yes. It's hard to get into like specifics on mental counseling on a Facebook Live because it's so dependent on that individual person. And I did want people to know too that I have a peer group. It's not a counseling group. It's just a group here in Skagit County called Pathways Connect Skagit County. If anybody wants to just try to meet with other people to get out of the house. And it's more people who are into what I call conscious parenting, more organic lifestyle, natural lifestyle kind of things. We follow a magazine called Pathways Connect, Pathways Magazine, which is natural parenting and natural organic lifestyle. So if anybody wants to join that, it's here on Facebook. You can find it at Pathways Connect Skagit County and join that group. And we'll have a community group. We are going to be meeting every other month. And then also for Jaymie, contact her if you need anything individually. If you've had any childhood trauma or you're not too sure about your parenting skills, I mean, you're not the only one, trust me.
There's no manual for parenting.
No, there is absolutely no manual for parenting. It'd be nice if there was, but every child is different as well. And even I have 4 children, and each one of them responds and reacts differently to what I have to give them. So contact her, and then also the Perch and Play. You have a link for the group or something for the group we can put in the comments at the end. So if you're in Skagit or Whatcom County and have a little one and you're new to mommyhood, I highly encourage you to get with Jaymie and meet some of their parents and chat and just get out of the house.
Yes, just getting out of the house can sometimes just make a complete difference.
So did you have any final words of wisdom, any final comments you want to leave people with, anything they need to know or where to find you, whatever you want to leave us with, Jaymie?
I just want to reassure people it is okay to seek help. It doesn't mean that you're an awful person. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean that you're not an okay person. It's okay to seek help. It's great to seek help. I mean, as a counselor, I see a counselor, and my counselor sees a counselor. Like, I encourage everyone to have, that person that they can see.
Yeah. In our office, we always talk about health. Health is optimal physical, social, and mental well-being, not merely just the absence of disease. Right. So health is encompassing all of these things. And as a chiropractor, I want people to have a healthy lifestyle, a healthy life. So I want them to seek out help where they need it. I'm glad that I have you as a resource for people, and I'm glad that you're doing this for young moms. And I hope that people will reach out to you and decrease the stress in their life and increase their acceptance and their understanding of how they can parent and move on and create a better future. So I thank you for joining me.
Thanks. And even if it's not me, they reach out to. I mean, not anyone. I mean, there's so many different styles of counselors. You can shop around.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes. And I think with counseling, like with midwifery and doulas and counselors and even chiropractors, you have to find the person that fits with you. Yeah. And so Jaymie is a good place to start. Check her out. And then, I'm sure she has other resources. I have resources if somebody doesn't fit with me in the chiropractic office. I'm like, here's another office that might fit better with you. So I'm sure you have those too.
I do.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us. If anybody has any questions, just leave them in the comments. We will get back to you. Otherwise, you can reach us at our respective Facebook pages and websites, and we'll be happy to help you guys in your journey into health and wellness and healing from here on out.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.